Cold open. We were on month 9 of trying. I had an ovulation app, a basal thermometer, a drawer full of pink plastic wrappers, and the kind of tight smile women make when strangers at baby showers say, "You're next." He called it bad luck. He said, "It'll happen when we stop stressing. Bodies are shy." He said, "My friend's cousin tried for 3 years. Then, bam, twins." The morning it snapped for me, the pharmacy texted me a refill notice for his antibiotic. Urology, post-op. I wasn't snooping, I was the contact on his insurance because he didn't like portals. The line under the prescription said what he hadn't. Procedure, vasectomy, dated 18 months before we met. I didn't throw the phone. I opened the Notes app, titled a page fax, and began to write. This is how a negative pregnancy test turned into a filing cabinet of truth. Pharmacy logs, explanation of benefits codes, a patient portal line that changed the room temperature, and a lawyer who taught me that kindness can be signed in blue ink. Act or win. The before. We're just unlucky. I'm Rowan, 31, UX writer. I put labels on everything, pantry jars, folders, the dog. My partner, Daniel, 33, is an EMT who can thread a needle in a moving ambulance. He's gentle with strangers and charming with waiters, and always has a story about a guy who did a worse thing than whatever you're upset about. We agreed, in the easy light of early nights, that we wanted kids soon. We'd get our money straight, our apartment upgraded, our sleep banked. We made lists. We put prenatal vitamins next to car tires. Life felt solvable. Soon became dates on a calendar. I stopped birth control. He said, "We'll see what happens." What happened was nothing. Every month, I tracked ovulation like it was a moon you could pencil in. We did the math even on work nights. I went to my OB for a preconception check and left with folate and a pamphlet hiding unhelpful cartoons of smiling eggs. By month 5, I asked Daniel to get a basic semen analysis. He said, "Do you know what days are like for me? Let's give it time." By month 7, I asked again, with softer words. He said, "It's not just your job. Stop turning this into a project." By month 9, I almost believed him. Then the pharmacy text hit my phone. Act 2, the text that wrote my timeline. The message came mid-meeting. CVS, RX ready. Daniel L. Cephalexin, 500 milliliter. Urology, post-op, refill. A refill implies an original. Post-op implies a procedure. Urology implies a very short list. I excused myself, sat on a bench outside, and opened our insurance app. I manage our plan because I am good at hold music. In the EOBs, explanations of benefits, I filtered by provider specialty, urology. 3 claims appeared like misfiled postcards. CPT 5525, ligation of vas deferens, vasectomy. CPT 99024, postoperative follow-up visit. CPT 893110, semen analysis, motility and count post-vas. Dates: 18 months before we met for the surgery, 2 follow-ups in the month after, and a clearance analysis at 12 weeks. Plan paid, member paid $55 co-pay. The provider group was 2 miles from his old apartment. My mouth was dry and clinical. I screenshot the EOB list, redacted our member IDs, and added them to my fax note. Then I searched my own text messages for the month of his surgery. I had none. I didn't know him yet. He'd had a procedure that ended a future he was now asking me to chase with ovulation sticks. I didn't walk home. I floated. Act 3, the portal that didn't blink. At home, I opened my laptop and logged into his patient portal because months ago he'd asked me to handle the insurance stuff and gave me his password on a Post-it. If you're hearing the sound of a door unlocking, that's because it was. The Visits tab listed the procedure date, provider, and a line that made me set my tea down. Procedure, vasectomy, successful, patient counseled on permanence, advised alternative if future fertility desired. The Messages tab had an automated note. You have reached azoospermia on follow-up Thajomer 2. Contraception is no longer necessary. With a smiley emoji from a nurse. I printed the operative note. It's clinical. Drapes, sterilization, 2 small incisions, clips, cauterization, tissue sent to pathology. It's also permanent in the way counsel is permanent. He'd signed an informed consent. He'd initialed, "I understand this is intended to be permanent." I closed the laptop, I folded the printouts, I put them in a manila folder labeled medical, D, because I am a person who doesn't write betrayal on a tab even when she could. Active V, the conversation. I practiced. I waited until after dinner. We ate buttered rice and roasted vegetables and 3 minutes of television before I muted the screen. I got a pharmacy text, I said, about your post-op urology antibiotic, and I pulled our EOBs. You had a vasectomy 18 months before we met. He blinked, then lifted his face into the I'm about to explain mask. It's complicated, he started. It was a bad relationship. She pressured me. It was a mistake. Reversal is a thing. Guys do it all the time. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. My voice sounded like the kind of glass that holds whiskey. I didn't want to lose you, he said, the line people say when they are actively losing you. Also, reversals are pretty easy. They're not, I said quietly. And your chart says you were counseled on permanence. You signed that you understood. He went through the phases. Minimize, reframe, victimize. Minimize. We were going to try for a year anyway. This didn't change the plan. Reframe. This proves it wasn't your fault. See? That's a relief. Victim. You have no idea how hard my ex made my life. I did what I had to survive. I'm sorry your past hurt, I said. It doesn't explain lying to me about our future. He tried math next. I looked up reversal success rates, 80%. Not accurate, not for this timeline. We can schedule a consult. Was that your plan? I asked. To get me to 12 months of trying and then confess and offer a consult like a prize? Silence. He ran a hand through his hair and knocked a fork off the table with too much flair to be an accident. Okay, he said. I should have told you. I was afraid you'd leave. I love you. I love you, I said, and knew it was true and not enough. We need a plan. Act Fiv. No, don't know, the map. I opened my fax note and turned it into no, don't know he had a vasectomy. 18 months before we met, chart and EOBs confirm. He attended follow-ups, achieved clearance, stopped contraception per note. He asked to try for a baby without disclosing this. He deflected 2 semen analysis requests, citing schedule. He floated reversal after being confronted. Don't know whether I want to parent with someone who hid this. Costs, success rates, surgical timelines of reversal for his case, legal implications, if any, and financial boundaries. What it does to me to continue trying with ovulation apps if the person beside me is a question mark. I booked 2 appointments, my OB/GYN for myself to get a sanity check and language for reproductive coercion, deception. It's a spectrum. Mine sat on a slice of it. A therapist for me alone. I'm clever with facts and less practiced with my own feelings when the facts hurt. I also emailed a urology clinic, not his, with a generic inquiry. If a patient had a vasectomy X years ago, what's the realistic path to reversal or retrieval plus IVF? The reply was neutral and kind. Reversal. Success depends on time since procedure and technique. Sperm retrieval plus IVF is an alternative but costly. Happy to schedule a consult. Numbers are a comfort until they aren't. Act 6. The clinic. Facts without romance. My OB, Dr. Vance, has a voice like a calm shoulder. I told her the story in bullet points. That's a breach of trust, she said plainly. Regardless of intent. Medically, you're fine. You've done everything right. This isn't your body's failure. It's a disclosure failure. She typed as she spoke. Clinicians who document are my people, and added a line to my chart I will bless later. Patient reports partner had vasectomy prior to relationship and did not disclose. Counseling provided reproductive deception. Resources offered. She offered to connect me with a fertility counselor. She also recommended I check in with a legal clinic about potential financial exposure. If you do pursue ART, she said, have contracts that protect you. I left with a printout titled Options, and the sense that sometimes a doctor is a witness you don't have to convince. Act 7. The budget. Love is not a spreadsheet, but money is at home. I built a cost map. Reversal surgery. $7K, $12K, cash pay. Recovery weeks. Success variable. His surgeon's technique unknown. Sperm retrieval. Plus IVF, ICSI. $18K, $25K per cycle, plus meds, success per cycle, 30–40% depending on my age. Adoption paths, time frames, and costs, not because I was choosing now, but because I needed all the boxes visible. We could afford one of these at a time. We could not afford trust to be optional. I asked Daniel to pull his operative report so a reversal surgeon could evaluate technique, clips versus cautery, segment lengths, any noted complications. He balked at first, then sent me a photo later that night. I added it to the folder. I also asked him to write his version of a fax note. I need to see you do this, I said. I need to see you name what you did and what you're willing to do that isn't words. He wrote 3 sentences. I had a vasectomy and did not tell you. I'm sorry. I thought we'd eventually do a reversal and it would be fine. I will do whatever it takes to fix this. I wanted verbs. Whatever it takes is an empty grocery bag. Act 8. The mediated talk, because we needed a referee. We booked a session with a couples therapist, Hannah, who keeps a bowl of smooth stones on the table like a reminder that pressure makes polished. In the room, I read my no, don't know list. He read his 3 lines and tried to riff into context. A terrible ex, a night of panic at 30, a coworker who said vasectomies were reversible like a zipper. Hannah lifted a hand. Reversibility is not the subject, she said. Disclosure is. She asked him to say my name, and then a sentence. I took away your choice. He did, stiffly, as if the words were shoes he wore for the first time and found too small. She asked me to say what I wanted in 1 sentence, not containing the word should. I said, I want a partner who uses the truth like a table, not a rug. Then we talked logistics. Hannah is ruthless in the way surgeons are kind. She cuts to save. Boundary 1. No sex while I decide what my body needs. Your body is not a repair tool. Boundary 2. He schedules 2 consults, reversal and IVF within 2 weeks, and sends me dates, time confirmations. I am free to attend or not. Boundary 3. Financial escrow. He moves $10,000 of his savings into an account designated for my therapy, medical, or relocation if I leave. My lawyer later blessed this. It wasn't punitive. It was a seriousness measure. Boundary 4. He tells his parents, who adore me, the truth, not a softened anecdote. Secrets breed in soft language. He agreed because the alternative was me packing boxes that afternoon. He cried. I didn't. Feelings catch me on delay. Act 9. 2 consults and a spreadsheet. The reversal surgeon was brisk and kind, mid-50s, hands like masonry. He reviewed the operative report. Clips and cautery, he said. 18 months out is favorable relative to 10 years, but nothing is guaranteed. Insurance rarely covers it. Recovery, weeks, intercourse restrictions, at least 2. Success, we can attempt vasoepididymostomy if needed, but that's microsurgery. Success rates drop. He asked Daniel the question I'd been waiting for someone else to ask. Did you tell your partner before you started trying? Daniel looked at his shoes. No. The surgeon nodded once, like someone who has fixed more plumbing than he's judged. Do not make promises with someone else's body, he said, and slid us a packet. The IVF clinic consult the next day was a different flavor of sterile, brushed metal, a brochure that wanted to be a lullaby. The REI, reproductive endocrinologist, laid out a plan: retrieve sperm via TSA, testicular extraction. If reversal failed or was declined, pair with my stim cycle, do ICSI. Numbers spilled, success rates, failure rates, twin risks, costs. My head filled with acronyms that sound like kitchen appliances. We left with 2 packets and a third thing, the sense that both paths were medicine and money we'd chosen together, except we hadn't. He'd chosen alone long ago. I was being offered tickets to a train he'd boarded without telling me it existed. That night, I put both folders on the table and didn't open them. I put my hand flat on the wood and listened for a quiet inside me that had been drowned out by charts. Act X, the decision, and what leaving looks like. People ask, why didn't you just leave the second you found out? As if bodies turn like light switches, as if love isn't a habit as much as a noun. I didn't leave because I needed to stand in the fact long enough to understand its shape. I needed to know whether the shape was forgivable or foundational. 2 weeks of consults and 3 therapist sessions later, I knew it was foundational. He had removed my consent for 9 months by omission, then handed me a menu of expensive salvage as an apology. I told him on a Saturday morning with the dog between us, dogs are priests who don't tell confessions. I'm not going to do reversal or IVF with you, I said. Not because of the medicine, because of the trust. I'm moving out. He went very still in the way that makes you think about dishes as weapons and then remember you don't live in a movie. He said, "So all of this was for nothing." I said, "It was for knowing. I prefer knowing." He asked for a trial period, an ultimatum, anything but a sentence that ended. I said the sentence again and kept the period. Act F, administrative exit. Copy this. I called Ms. Patel, the attorney who had helped a friend leave cleanly, and asked for the softest legal exit that still protected me. She drew a list with bullet points like life preservers, mutual lease release or addendum giving me 60 days to vacate and him sole possession after we were mid-lease. The landlord agreed to a clean transfer. EMTs are reliable rent payers. Financial disentanglement. Freeze joint card. Payoff balance. Close. New personal checking and savings. Move direct deposit. Remove each other as authorized users on anything that wasn't truly joint. Credit freeze at all 3 bureaus because people in pain make chaotic applications. Property. Divide with a spreadsheet, not a fight. I kept the car in my name, my grandmother's table, my books, and the dog. We had agreed 3 years ago. If we split, she comes with me. He honored that. Communication, one channel, email for 90 days. No texts, no middle-of-night nostalgia. A letter, not a cease and desist. No harassment occurred, but a non-disparagement and privacy agreement. No postings about medical histories, no mutual friends smear, no side of the story podcast guest spots. He signed. He has always loved agreements that let him pretend we run a startup. Safety note, change locks with landlord, review smart devices, factory reset, remove shared logins, update multi-factor authentication. I did all the boring things in 2 days like I was the project manager of my own sanity. Act shines the parents and the eulogy for a version of us. He told his parents, per Hannah's boundary. I wasn't there. I don't know if he told it straight. His mother texted me later, a message that could have been a Bible verse if you erased the nouns. We love you. We don't understand our son sometimes. Thank you for being gracious. I cried then, finally, not because grace is a compliment, but because grace was heavy. I put the phone on my grandmother's table and let my body do something other than plan. I wrote a small eulogy for the version of us that planted herbs on the windowsill and thought someday we'd cook for a child who rolled peas off a tray. I kept the basil. It doesn't know whose hands water it. Act 3, the after, quiet like a room with windows. I found a studio with a window that faces a bakery. It has light like a decision. I carried 2 boxes at a time and labeled each kitchen, books, cords that look important. I took the dog to the park and showed her the new bench with the plaque that says, "For anyone who stayed too long." She sniffed. She approved. I emailed my OB to close the loop. She responded with the gentlest clinical poetry. No follow-up needed unless desired. Your body is not at fault. Documented reproductive deception for your record. I emailed Hannah, our couples therapist, to say I wouldn't be continuing. She sent back, "Good endings are also therapy." I believed her. Daniel texted twice in the next month. Once a photo of the basil. "It misses you," he wrote. Once a, "What if we..." message that I didn't finish. I replied only to the basil. Water it every 3 days. Then I muted the thread. Act fart fur. The lesson I didn't want, and now offer like a map. If you're listening to this and your body is full of maybe, but your calendar is full of try, here's the part that isn't a story. It's a checklist. Ask for medical history and writing before you build a future that depends on it. This isn't romance, it's informed consent. If something feels off, pull your insurance EOBs. Codes tell truths mouths can't. Use your patient portals. The line that changed my life lived under procedures. If concealment happened, name it. "You took away my choice" is a scalpel sentence. It can cut and it can save. Decide whether the injury is repairable or foundational. You do not owe yourself a salvage operation to justify leaving. If you stay and try, get contracts for money and timelines, future you is a person you are allowed to protect. Document in your own chart, through your doctor, that deception occurred. Paper can be a witness when rooms are empty. If you leave, do it with admin, money, credit, locks, accounts. Boring work is the bridge out. And because people will ask, yes, I still want to be a parent. I don't know the shape yet. It might be a kid, it might be a dog with a baby name, it might be a niece I teach to label spice jars and ask for EOBs like a superhero. For now, it is a woman who sleeps diagonally in a bed that fits the truth. CTA. If this story gave you a map, tap like and subscribe. I make long-form, true-style stories where receipts beat performances, medical charts, bank lines, contracts, and the quiet, wildly satisfying art of leaving with your head and your credit intact. In the comments, if you want, tell me the smallest boring step that ever saved you. A code you looked up, a line in a portal, a phrase you practiced before you needed it.